My daughter's graduation party was the proudest day of my life, until my father grabbed a crowbar and smashed the hood of her brand new Mustang. It wasn't just a car. It was the gift I had saved up for 2 years to give her. Early mornings, late shifts, every bonus tucked away quietly. She thought we were just going out for lunch. Instead, we rolled the car cover off in front of the whole family, custom red, black racing stripes, her initials stitched on the seat. She cried. I cried. And then my sister, my spoiled 29-year-old still figuring it out sister, said, "Wait, I thought the car was for me." Dad said Ethan would handle it. Everyone stopped breathing. My daughter looked confused. Why would it be for her? It's mine. My dad stepped forward. You disrespectful little brat. That girl's been through hell. You live easy. That car should go to your aunt. And before I could even move, he reached into the trunk of his own car, pulled out a crowbar and slammed it down on the hood. The sound, metal warping, snapped something inside me. The party ended in screams. My daughter sat shaking. And my father? He called me ungrateful. What he didn't know. My grandmother had seen everything. I drove my daughter home in silence. She didn't cry. She just stared at the crushed hood like something inside her had been broken too. Not just the car. The moment. The memory. I don't want him near me again, she said quietly. I nodded. I couldn't speak. My phone buzzed with a text from my sister. You know he's right. I deserve that car. She's just a kid. I didn't reply. The next morning I called the insurance company. They said the damage wouldn't be covered since it wasn't an accident, and the police report we filed? That would turn into a case unless I dropped the complaint. My father had told them I gave him permission to move the car. A lie. But then came the twist I hadn't expected. My grandmother called. She's 84. Sure. Unforgiving. The last person who usually gets involved. Her voice was calm, surgical. I saw what happened to Ethan. The Mustang. The screaming. I was on the porch when he attacked it. I waited for the usual family guilt. But instead she said, I've had enough. She asked me to meet her at the credit union that afternoon. I didn't understand until I saw the envelope in her hand. It wasn't just a check. It was a document. And her name was on the title. Not of the car. Of the house my parents live in. I sat across from my grandmother in that small wood-paneled credit union office, still stunned. She opened the envelope and slid the documents toward me. A property deed. Signed. Stamped. Claim. Her voice never rose above a whisper. Your grandfather left the house to me, not them. I let them live in it rent-free for 20 years. I paid the taxes. The repairs. Because I thought I was helping. But I watched what he did to that car, to your daughter. And I realized I didn't raise a monster. I raised an enabler who became one. I blinked. You're saying? I'm saying, she interrupted, that house is mine. And starting today, I'm putting it under a living trust with one condition. She leaned in. He leaves. Or they both do. I almost laughed, not out of humor but shock. My grandmother had been silent for years while Dad insulted, dominated, and dictated every family gathering like he owned the last word. Now, she was the one holding the pen. She handed me another paper, notarized and ready to file. Help me process the transfer, she said, and find me a lawyer. A real one. I looked at her, same tiny woman who used to knit blankets and bake banana bread, and I saw it clearly. She wasn't asking for revenge. She was executing a judgment. And Dad? He had no idea what was coming. By Monday the paperwork was filed. The trust was active. And my grandmother, in the steadiest handwriting I've ever seen, signed the formal notice that would be hand-delivered to my father by Friday. He'd have 30 days to vacate the property. No exceptions. No negotiations. In the meantime, I took my daughter's Mustang to a body shop owned by an old friend from high school. I'll cover whatever it takes, I told him. Just make it like new. But while I waited for the repairs, word spread fast through the family grapevine. My aunt called first, worried, whispering, You can't be serious. You're evicting your own parents? I didn't explain. Because it wasn't my pen that signed the order. It was Grandma's. That Friday, I sat with her on the porch, sipping coffee, when a white envelope was dropped in their mailbox by courier. My father walked outside, opened it, and immediately began shouting. He stormed across the lawn, heading toward the porch. But Grandma stood up before I could. You don't get to raise your voice here, she said, steel in her tone. This is my house. No, she snapped, pointing at the mailbox. That's your eviction notice. His mouth opened, but nothing came out. She turned to me, calm again. "Ethan dear, did you bring the spare keys?" I nodded. And the locks were changed by sundown. My dad didn't leave quietly. He called cousins. He rallied siblings. He even tried to guilt-trip my daughter, the very same girl whose car he had destroyed. "You've turned him against his own father," he said on speakerphone, thinking I wasn't in the room. She replied calmly, "You did that when you treated me like a trade-in." Meanwhile, my sister? She went radio silent. Until the eviction notice reached her mailbox too, not as a tenant, but as a co-conspirator listed in the trust's attached complaint. My grandmother had rewritten everything. She wasn't just evicting my father. She was removing my sister as a named beneficiary from the family estate. "You don't reward entitlement," she told me. She thought she could stomp her foot and inherit security. Not anymore. The next day, my daughter's Mustang came back from the shop, restored perfectly. Better, even. They'd added a new stereo system, deep-cleaned the interior, and added a small custom touch to the back panel. Earned. She cried when she saw it. But this time not from heartbreak. From pride. As she drove off, I stood next to Grandma on the porch. She reached into her pocket and handed me a folded sticky note. I opened it. It was a login. To an account I'd never seen before. "What is this?" I asked. She just smiled. "That," she said, "is the rest of the story your father never told you." The login led to a private banking portal I'd never seen before. Old-fashioned interface. No flashy UI. Just numbers, and one name on the account. My daughter's. I scrolled through the details, my pulse stuttering. "Grandma, there's nearly $160,000 in here." She nodded, sipping her tea like she'd just handed over a library card. "I started saving when she was born," she said. "Your father mocked me. Said it was pointless. That you'd never amount to enough to raise a child who'd need it." I swallowed the burn in my throat. "All these years?" I asked. "Every birthday I forgot to give her a gift? It went into that account. Every holiday I couldn't attend? I was working side jobs, sewing for church neighbors, renting my basement to students. Quiet work. Quiet money. For the only girl in this family who never asked for anything." I looked at her, truly looked, at the woman the family treated like a relic, the one no one included in group decisions. And I saw the architect. She didn't just plan for storms. She prepared a lifeboat. My daughter pulled into the driveway, Mustang humming like new. Grandma stood up, pressed the paper into my hand and said, "Don't tell her yet. Let her enjoy the car. Let her feel free for once." I nodded. But I knew. This wasn't just about a car anymore. It was a rescue. And we weren't done yet. Because my father still thought he could reclaim everything. He had no idea what was coming next. 3 days later, I got the message I knew was coming. A text from my father, short and bitter. "You've made your point. When can we talk about the house?" I didn't respond. He tried again. "You want me out? Fine. But don't pretend you're doing this for anyone but yourself." Still silence. That weekend, I met with Grandma's estate attorney. She wasn't just transferring the deed. She was rewriting her entire will. The new document excluded my father and sister entirely. Instead, 50% would go to my daughter. The rest was to be split between two charities, both focused on scholarships for first-generation college students. She made her intentions clear. "I'm not passing down a house soaked in entitlement. I'm passing down a lesson. Earn it or lose it." Meanwhile, my sister's fiancé called me, out of nowhere. "I didn't sign up for this," he said. "She told me the house would be part of our future." "Then maybe," I said, "you should ask what else she's lied about." My daughter got the letter that same day, the one about the trust account. She didn't scream or jump or cry. She walked over, hugged Grandma and said, "I'll never waste this. I promise." But we still weren't done. Because my father wasn't leaving quietly. And Grandma had one final play left. One that would bury his control once and for all. The final play came wrapped in silence, just the way Grandma preferred it. While Dad was busy ranting to relatives and trying to guilt the family into siding with him, Grandma sat at her kitchen table writing checks. Not emotional ones. Legal ones. The same day my father's 30-day eviction expired, a sheriff's notice was posted on the front door. But that wasn't the play. The play was what came next. Grandma didn't sell the house. She donated it to a local nonprofit that provides transitional housing for single moms finishing college degrees. The house would be renovated, repurposed, and renamed the Hamilton House. But not after my father. After my daughter. The dedication plaque would read, "In honor of every girl who was told to give up what she earned to someone louder. You were never the problem, You were the solution. When Dad heard, he showed up at Grandma's door one last time, fists clenched, voice shaking. You've ruined us, he growled. Grandma looked him dead in the eye. No. I ended the cycle. Then she shut the door. And that was it. My daughter graduates college next spring. The Mustang still runs like new. And I still visit Grandma every Sunday. She never called it revenge. She called it realignment. Me. I call it the moment my family stopped breaking me and started losing their grip.